Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us right here on this Friday with me, Betty Kialo, right here on TV47. Well, I hope you had a splendid week. I'm going to make sure that we end it strong tonight. Of course, we have the top stories for you tonight. But apart from that, we have your favorites, a fantastic conversation with a breast cancer survivor, Ivy Rono, together with an oncologist. We're going to be discussing, all about breast cancer, very important topic. Remember, October was Breast Awareness Cancer Month, but of course, we continue the conversation. Apart from that, of course, we have your favorite, Willis Oing. He's going to be joining us live and direct from Kisii County. He's going to be teaching us, of course, the proper pronunciations. I hear today he has a word, I don't know if it's parallelogram or parallel. You know what? Let me just wait for Willis. So it's going to be a fantastic 1 hour. Let's begin with the highlights. Tonight, Kindiki III.
I, Kithure Kindiki, do swear that I will always truly serve the people of Kenya.
Professor Kithure Kindiki sworn in as the third deputy president under the current constitution. Also tonight, I was the lonely voice in the executive.
I am confident that you will do that which I have missed.
President Ruto blasts former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua for not helping him in the service delivery. Plus, Dal Mathira.
Hiyo tumefanyiwa mbaya sana kama watu wa Mount Kenya. Watu wa Mlima wamefanyiwa mbaya.
Jovial Tharaka Nithi as they celebrate their son Kithure Kindiki. But Gachagua says home sweet home, relaxing with his family in Mathira. 99% of Kenyans oppose the Constitution of Kenya Amendment Bill on term limits, Senate Justice and Legal Affairs Committee says. Well, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Our sign language interpreter is Catherine Sumaloy. Now let's begin our top story tonight. And tonight, Professor Kithure Kindiki has been sworn in as the third Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya under the 2010 Constitution. Professor Kindiki becoming the third Deputy President under the current Constitution following the impeachment of Rigathi Gachagua. And as our senior political reporter Elizabeth Mutuku witnessed this historic event, she now tells us exactly how it all went down.
Few minutes past 10 a.m. today, Professor Abraham Kithure Kindiki arrived at the Kenya International Conference Center, KICC, ready for the day. The man of the moment walked with his wife, Joyce Kithure, as hundreds of Kenyans witnessed the historic event. 10:46 a.m., Kindiki took the stage ready for the oath of office to assume the office of the third deputy president. And in the line of the Assumption of Office Act, Professor Kindiki took two oaths: the oath of allegiance and the oath due to execution of the office of deputy president.
Advice
to the President of the Republic of Kenya.
To the President of the Republic of Kenya.
Kindiki was later handed over the tools of power. Kindiki was later ushered into the podium by Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi to make his inaugural speech as the Deputy President.
Yes, that I have worked and served around you in various capacities. Therefore, Your Excellency, I'm grateful for the honor which you have given me. I promise you, before this congregation and before God, that I will not let you down.
President William Ruto expressed his confidence in his deputy, who he says is a man of excellence.
Brother, you are intelligent, my brother. I am confident that you will do that which I have missed for the last 2 years.
Even as the leaders present in the swearing-in threw barbs to impeach Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, the much awaited is to see whether the new duo will deliver to Kenyans. Elizabeth Mutiko, TV47 KICC, Nairobi.
Thanks, Liz. Now, President William Ruto says he has been the lonely voice in his executive in the last 2 years in what appeared to blast his former deputy president, Rigathi Gachagua. The president said he had no assistance to help him in advancing the government's agenda. And as Linda Alela now tells us, the president believes Professor Kindiki is the man to help his cause to deliver to Kenyans.
In his speech after the swearing-in of Professor Kindiki as the Deputy President, President William Ruto blasted his now former deputy, Rigathi Gachagua. President Ruto claiming to be lonely voice in his cabinet in the last 2 years.
My dear Professor Kindiki, I need your voice. I need your intellect to help me and to help members of our cabinet to profile the things we are doing, to speak to the things that we are doing.
The president now calling on his deputy president, Professor Kindiki Kithure, to assist him in telling the agenda of the government.
I have almost become a lonely voice in the executive, especially in the presidency, speaking about our projects, speaking about our programs, elaborating on what we are doing. You are eloquent, my brother. You are intelligent, my brother. I am confident that you will do that which I have missed for the last 2 years.
Take and subscribe the oath of affirmation.
This marked the first time President Ruto is hinting at what triggered the fallout with his deputy since the political onslaught that culminated in the impeachment of Gachagua. This was the first time the president was hinting on what might have caused the fallout with Gachagua. The president saying his government will serve all Kenyans. One of the concerns that led to the impeachment of Gachagua was his perceived tribal remarks on shareholding.
We are not here to serve ourselves or our families or our communities or our regions or our villages. We are here to serve the Republic of Kenya and the people of Kenya.
Ruto stressed that failure is not an option in implementing his administration's bottom-up agenda, terming Kindiki as his best bet to achieving that.
I want to commit to support and assist you, together with the other colleagues in government, to realize a Kenya that has even greater opportunities.
He further asserted that Kindiki's swearing-in exemplifies Kenya's commitment to democracy and constitutional adherence. During the ceremony, Kindiki pledged to perform his duties diligently, assuring President Ruto that he will provide the assistance needed to advance the country's development. For TV47, I'm Linda Alela.
All right, thanks, Linda. Now, if the swearing-in of Professor Kithure Kindiki on November 1st could be a proverb from the Somali community that goes, even if it's late, the moon will rise, would have suited best. Now, Friday, during the swearing-in of the third deputy president, leaders of the ruling party, United Democratic Alliance, revealed the intricacies that led to Kindiki missing the opportunity to be the country's second deputy president. Moige William reports.
Abraham Kithure Kindiki, the third deputy president of the Republic of Kenya, rising to the second most powerful office in the land, occasioned by unprecedented events. The impeachment of former deputy president Rigathi Gachagua.
To His Excellency the Deputy President.
2 years ago, President William Ruto, in the run-up to the 2022 general elections, settled on Gachagua as his running mate, albeit only 18 out of 66 members of parliament from the larger Mount Kenya region who had locked themselves for more than 24 hours after being tasked to find a running mate for Ruto, settled on Kithure Kindiki.
Akaniambia kijana fulani ni mzuri, kijana fulani wa bidii, kijana fulani ni wa namna hii. Lakini mimi niliwaambia hapana.
Then all odds against the soft-spoken teacher of law, Missing a spot for various reasons, among them his calm demeanor, he is the new occupant of the Harambee Annex Deputy President office.
Even in terms of temperament, demeanor, just the grace that office holds. You can have certain attributes before you become a governor or a president or a deputy. Once you become that, then you symbolize the whole country and its unity.
Moses Kuria, a sharp critic of Gachagua, hinting that Mount Kenya politics also influenced Ruto's decision on opting for Gachagua as a running mate, considering the number of votes from the west of the Mount Kenya region compared to that of the east of the mountain.
What we have entrenched today is the leaders that believe that a strong Kenya is a strong Mount Kenya, and we cannot survive on our own.
Further, Ruto settling for Gachagua over Kindiki was Gachagua's mobilization capabilities and financial muscle, which it was then considered will be crucial in turning Ruto's campaign wheels in the race to the House on the Hill State House. In Kindiki's swearing in, still, notable leaders from Mount Kenya West were not in attendance, such as Nyeri Governor, a close ally of Gachagua, Mutahi Kahiga, Nyandarua Governor Kiaria Badilisha, Kiambu's Kimani Wamatangi, Muranga's Irongo Kangata, and Kiharu Member of Parliament Ndende Nyoro. Gachagua's allies were also missing at the historic event.
Cometh the hour, cometh the man. A teacher of law, Professor Kithure Kindiki becomes the third Deputy President under the 2010 Constitution. Moige William for TV47 at KICC, Nairobi.
Now, Deputy President Kithure Kindiki's entry is a full one. Pundits argue that Kindiki faces the unprecedented heavy task of repairing broken political relations and returning the office back to its envisioned national standing. Kindiki has a full entry as stipulated in the Executive Order No. 2 of 2023, where President Ruto laid out the duties and responsibilities of the DP. George Maringa now explains.
I have almost become a lonely voice in the executive, especially in the presidency, speaking about our projects, speaking about our programs, elaborating on what we are doing. You are eloquent, my brother.
The president's sentiments have been likened to the proverbial saying that the writing is now on the wall for a man who is stepping into his new role at a time when public trust in the government is shaky.
The president is handing over the...
Soft-spoken and often seen as a calculative politician, the professor of law, Abraham Kithure Kindiki, faces quite an unprecedented heavy task. One featuring repairing broken political relations and returning the office back to its envisioned national standing. And whereas pundits have argued that the Constitution is silent on the duties of the Deputy President, President William Ruto went ahead to curate what would be a playbook in his presidency through Gazette Notice No. 2 of 2023 by outlining the duties of his deputy. Seen as a president's confidant, Professor Kindiki, who has twice retained his position as Interior CS in Ruto's administration, will also find himself tasked with rallying support for President William Ruto, while at the same time uniting the Mount Kenya region, a challenging feat given the current heated political landscape.
I commit, I will be loyal and faithful.
When all is said and done, the new second-in-command will have to step into his new shoes and walk the journey with his boss, filling a position where his predecessor had a nasty fallout, leading to an impeachment 2 years into Ruto's administration. Eyes will be on him to see how he navigates the remainder of the term. George Maringa, TV47, Nairobi.
All right, now President William Ruto has called for the urgent action in response to the alarming rise in femicide cases across the country. While speaking at KICC during the swearing-in of his deputy Kithure Kindiki, President Ruto expressed concern on the rising cases of femicide in the country. Samira Mohammed now reports.
2 days after the National Police Service and the Directorate of Criminal Investigations revealed a damning report on the rising cases of femicide witnessed in the country, President William Ruto today broke his silence on the matter.
I know that of recent we have seen incidences of our girls, our mothers, our women who have been murdered in cold blood
President Ruto expressed concern that women and girls in the country have been losing their lives after being killed in cold blood. Ruto further called on society as a whole to be on the lookout for such criminals who go around luring girls and women into insecure places before murdering them.
And I want to ask us as a society to be careful with strangers, to be careful with people who lure our girls, our women into situations that compromise their security. But we must be on the lookout, all of us as a nation.
President Ruto has now called for urgent action in response to the alarming rise in femicide cases across the country, further urging security agencies to expedite on the investigations and assist combat the worrying trend of femicide in the country.
And let me say this, that the DCI and all the investigative authorities in the Republic of Kenya must stand up to these criminals, and we must deal decisively and firmly.
Ruto's appeal comes barely 2 days after the National Police Service and the Directorate of Criminal Investigation revealed an alarming statistics indicating that 97 women have been killed over the past 3 months, drawing national attention to the crisis.
The country has reported 97 cases of femicide. This troubling trend highlights the urgent need for focused actions and collaboration to tackle the widespread problem of gender-based violence in our society.
Samira Mohammed for TV47 Nairobi.
Now, the Deputy President's swearing-in ceremony attracted dignitaries, diplomats, and hundreds of Kenyans who thronged the KICC to witness the historic moment of Kenya getting her third Deputy President under the 2010 Constitution. Now, Sheila Chelangat details the event of the ceremony presided over by the Chief Justice Martha Koome. Take a look.
A historic moment, one for the books for Professor Abraham Kithure Kindiki. But before getting to the KICC to take on the country's second-in-command position, he made one last stop at the Harambee House, bidding farewell to the Interior Ministry officials, whom he has been at the helm of for 2 years and 9 days. Then majestically into the KICC, where his fate would be sealed as the third Deputy President of Kenya, hand in hand with his wife, Dr. Joyce Kindiki, to a thunderous reception from the hundreds of Kenyan dignitaries and diplomats present at the KICC.
As shall come to my knowledge.
At 10:50 a.m., the Professor of Law took to the swearing-in arena, taking the oath of office administered by Chief Registrar of the Judiciary.
Me, God. So help me, God.
This moment, making him the official second-in-command, cheered on by hundreds of Kenyans that had thronged the KICC for the historic moment. And perhaps the bromance in the executive has made a comeback. President William Ruto congratulating Deputy Kindiki with a hug. It also did not go unnoticed as the president nudged DP Kindiki to a smile as they posed for a photo after handing over the Constitution to the Deputy President. It is a moment that DP Kindiki has described as the highest honor yet to receive in his life, as he steps into his role as Deputy President with a lot of gratitude. The nation watches eagerly, anticipating the positive changes that his leadership will bring. Sheila Chelangat for TV47.
Thanks, Sheila, for that colorful story. Now, Mount Kenya East residents turned out in large numbers to celebrate the swearing-in of their son, Professor Kithure Kindiki. While many expressed their gratitude for the president's choice, in contrast, the mood in Mount Kenya West was more low-spirited, with residents voicing feelings of betrayal, as Ruga Eval now tells us.
While their son was taking oath of office in Nairobi, Tharaka Nithi residents took break from their daily activities to express their joy following his swearing in.
Tafadhali Mungu asaidie Kindiki, sijui ametoka wapi. Mungu huyo mtoto ya pasa huyo. Mungu ambariki bwana. Mungu ameinua Tharaka. Ameinua Tharaka.
We are feeling so happy and at the same time so humbled. We are the Israelites of the Kenya as a nation. Tunashukuru sana na tunataka kuhakikishia Kenya kwamba tumewapatia Profesa Kithure Kindiki akawachapie kazi. Si wetu tena, akuwe national figure.
Many residents believe it is now time for his home county to receive a range of development projects, all in courtesy of the third DP under the 2010 constitution.
Kuna mambo mingi tafanyika hapa Tharaka. For example, tumebariki sana na mambo ya lami. Kuna lami imetoka Meru imefika mpaka Miomponi yafika Tharaka. Kuna ingine imetoka pande ya Mikinduli imefika Katithini yafika Tharaka. Lakini tunajua ya kwamba Kindiki akipata kiti ya president, hizo barabara zote zitafunguliwa na zitaingia Tharaka.
The mood was however different in Karatina, Nyeri County, the hometown of former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, and it was notably more subdued. Residents spent the better part of the day focused on their daily routines, offering little commentary on the recent developments.
Hiyo tumefanyiwa mbaya sana kama watu wa Mount Kenya. Watu wa mlima wamefanyiwa mbaya sababu mimi naona ingekuwa Gachagua lazima aende, wangeenda wao wawili. Gachagua pamoja na president.
Professor Abraham Kithure Kindiki now assumes office following the impeachment of the former deputy president on October 17th. The judges agreed to lift the conservatory orders that had been blocking his swearing in, arguing that leaving the position vacant for an extended period could lead to a constitutional crisis.
Swear.
Do swear.
Ruga Evil. TV47.
Now, former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has his political fate depending on the judiciary on whether he may have to vie for any political seat in the near future, or he will have to wait for 10 years as regarded by the Constitution. Now, the courts are expected to hear his case next week, even after his successor Kithure Kindiki assumed office Friday morning. And as Mike Kagwongo reports, the former second-in-command took to social media this evening describing his comfort at Mathera residence together with his family.
Friday afternoon, and former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua took it to his social media account, thanking God for the gift of his family. On his social media platforms, Gachagua said the smell of fresh grass, sounds of chirping birds is what a happy family needs. With his statement ending with God bless Kenya, he said he wouldn't wait for the morning to take his walk in Hombe Forest, enjoy the beautiful scenery of Mount Kenya, as he thanks God for his kindness. The same family photo was also shared by his spouse, Pastor Dorcas Rigathi, on her social media platforms.
I, Kithure Kindiki.
With Professor Kithure Kindiki swearing in Friday, the dice is cast. Does this mean Geoffrey Rigathi Gachagua's political survival is deemed for the next 10 years?
There is nothing else left for him. He's lost. He lost in Parliament, both in the National Assembly and in the Senate. He's lost in the courts. I don't know what else he'll going for after, but he lost, and that is how life is. That is the beauty of democracy.
He took the path of trading in Kenya to win Mount Kenya.
Although challenging the impeachment in court has since been essentially regarded as grasping at straws, the former Mathera legislator will now be seeking to clear his name off the hook to provide him another political platform.
Gachagua sasa ni aweze kufikiria hiyo petition yake, kwamba je ataweza kuendelea na ile petition, kwa sababu Waswahili wanasema dalili ya mvua ni mawingu. Mawingu yametanda, yameonyesha kwamba mwingine ashaingia ofisini.
According to Anti-Corruption and Economic Crimes Act of 2016 revised edition, a person who is convicted of corruption or economic crime shall be disqualified from being elected or appointed as a public officer for 10 years after the conviction. This section, however, does not apply with respect to an elected office if the Constitution sets out the qualifications for the office. But in Gachagwa's case, the Senate found him guilty of 5 counts of gross violation of the Constitution, including practicing ethnically divisive politics and threatening judges. He was, however, cleared of 6 charges, including corruption. According to Article 75 of the Constitution on the conduct of state officers, a person who has been dismissed or otherwise removed from office for a contravention of the provisions specified in Clause 2 is disqualified from holding any other state office. Gachagua will now be fighting in court to clear his name and turn his ouster into a political masterstroke against his rivals, with the Court of Appeal set to hear his application to stop the High Court from prosecuting his ouster case Wednesday next week. Mike Kagwongo, TV47, Nairobi.
All right. Thanks, Mike. Now, Cape Media's team, courtesy of Cooperative Bank, are on a campus wave tour of Chuka University in Tharaka Nithi County. Now, this collaboration aims to mentor youth to create a financial-wise future by registering on the Year app, an application that will enable them to access a variety of banking money transfers and payment services. Anastasia Mukabi reports.
Life ijipe leo na sio kesho, sawa?
The Tharaka Nithi County youths were thrilled to engage with the Cape Media team, courtesy of Cooperative Bank, campus wave tour at Chuka University. Through training and inspiring young talent in these dynamic pods, this collaboration aims to educate youths on transforming their passion into business by registering on Year app.
This account ideally targets those aged between 18 to 35, and it's available and applicable to a different number of segments.
The head of banking at Cooperative, Chris Mwasia, outlined some of the benefits of opening this young innovators account.
Number one, you have the webinars for you, get trained. 2, if you're doing an online business, hustle and all that, you got what you call the virtual cards. You're able
Sports News brought to you by Maybet. Bet bila stake. Predict the outcome of 8 pre-selected games and win up to 100,000 shillings. Only at maybet.com.
All right, so let's get straight to some sporting action. And Kenya has partnered with the city of Miramar in France to enhance athletics training and expand sports development initiatives. Well, the city of Miramar was Kenya's training base ahead of the 2024 Paris Olympics. The collaboration between the city of Miramar, Elgeyo Marakwet County, the National Olympic Committee of Kenya, and the Athletics Kenya aims to train Kenyan coaches in Iten, following by other sessions, of course, in France. A sports science conference is in the planning stage as the ministry focuses on talent identification in schools, support for junior level coaches, and commitment to gender equality in sports.
So keen on diversifying our sports disciplines to avoid over-reliance on athletics. The House of Coaches project will come in handy as France has a more diversified sports portfolio than us. In the just concluded Olympics, we competed in fencing and judo for the first time. I'm hopeful that this partnership will expand in scope to encompass more disciplines.
We are very supportive of what you're together collectively doing, and I'm glad to announce that France has agreed, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the Embassy has agreed to support this partnership in creating a house of coaches in Iten, and I think we'll put some substantial support.
All Okay, now moving on to volleyball, and the Kenya Volleyball Federation National League entered day 2 on Friday at Kamukunji grounds in Nyeri County. Now, the women's competition Kenya Pipeline got their second win of the season after thrashing Post Bank 3-0. Kenya Army eased past Vihiga Volleyball. Kenya Prisons defeated Young Spikers, while DCI overcame Maranatha. Now, in the men's category, Equity So of Besietu 3-0. Kenya Prisons made easy work of Kenya Ports Authority, and Trailblazers put Kenya Army to the sword. Now the teams will shift their focus to the national tournament, which takes place this Saturday and Sunday.
The match today with our rivals KPA, we have managed to beat them 3-1. Actually, it was a tough match, and for this season we are very prepared. We are going to defend this title, and I'm sure of it.
We recovered yesterday, losing match against Prison Kenya, which we lost 3-1. We are trying to recover those points by uplifting today matches, by getting those 6 points.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, so that is just the first part of our show tonight. Of course, we had to cover the top stories for you, and a brilliant job, of course, done by our brilliant reporters. All right, so now we're going to take a short commercial break, but when we come back, like I mentioned when we started, we have a very interesting conversation with one Ivy Rono and Dr. Wanda. Now, Ivy is a breast cancer survivor, and my goodness, her story could not go without being told, even if the October Breast Cancer Awareness Month, of course, ended yesterday. So we are here to celebrate her, and of course to hear her exemplary story of her battle, and of course now her living cancer-free. And of course we have a doctor who's going to also give us more insight about this disease. You cannot miss that. So if you have a sister, you have a mom somewhere, you have a cousin, your wife, your girlfriend, anybody, you need to of course have a sit down and just listen to this story coming up. And of course we have Willis Oing, who's going to be joining us a little bit later from Kisii County. So we still have so much more for you. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Vile unavyojua watoto wengi sana hawana namna. Mimi ningependelea watoto wasome.
I'm here to stress on education. At the same time, let us actually do any kind of sport that we are doing. Sport speaks the best language to everybody.
Tunataka tutafute talents. Zile raw talents kutoka kule nyumbani mashinani mahali tuko leo.
Hizi mbio za Chepsaita, like all other sports, zinaleta watu pamoja.
We want to use this event to uplift the lives of the community.
Anafurahia hii mchezo sana. Hata sikaange naambianga watu tuende Chepsaita.
Wanafunzi wakimbie ili wakuze talanta ya mbio ama kuhimiza tena elimu.
This is the place to be. Hapa ndipo mahali wanastahili kuwa tarehe 7. Wale watoto walikimbia last year, wamekimbia mpaka wamefuka mipaka zetu za Kenya.
Hey there friends, welcome to Kids on the Block, where fun and imagination come alive. We dive into magical world filled with exciting adventures and awesome friends.
What position were you in?
I was number 2.
What position were you?
Number 1.
He decided to cross the bridge by his house and look for food on the other side.
We're going to do half cup of chocolate chips. And the other one, we're going to do half cup of the blueberries.
So, grab your imagination hats and get ready to explore with us. Join us every Saturday at 9 a.m. for new friends, amazing stories, and tons of laughter.
Join us as we explore the journeys of those who defy the odds and break barriers. We dive deep into the stories of triumph.
Sometimes when parenting a child with a special need or whatever disability, family life
And welcome back to this Friday. Thank you so much for staying with us. And if you're joining us, we're here having such a good time on a Friday night here on TV47. So before we get to a very interesting conversation with my guests tonight, I want us to cross over quickly to Kisii County and of course speak to the one and only, the English, master, Willis Oing. How are you doing tonight, Wambaji?
Fine, thanks. Niko salama Betty. Lakini, can I tell you something tonight?
Tell me, please.
Pink can be that magnificent when it comes to the people who are wearing pink. I salute you all.
Well, thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, the ladies tonight in the studio are beautiful, gorgeous. We're all draped in a bit of pink, a lot of pink, as you can see. Thank you so much. I'm sure I'm a compliment. I appreciate. All right, Willis. And you're also looking really great. You always have the best materials in town, Willis.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank
Willis.
you, Betty.
Let's get to the first word. And I'll start by spelling it out. So Maisonette, Willis. This one actually, even for me, I don't even know how to go about it. But tell us, you're the one who is the best in these pronunciations.
But you may agree with me that many people innocently say Mansonet. Yes. Mansonet for this word, no. What you say is Maisonette. Maisonette or Maisonette. So we should avoid Mansonet. It's Maisonette. That is the pronunciation of that word.
Wow, Willis. Yes. Maisonette it is. Sometimes, Willis, this was you go to the estates na unaanza kuambia watu ni Maisonette. They look at you like, but it's always good to know the correct
the problem that we have, Betty, is what we commonly hear around us, especially when we are young or when we go to school. You realize that sometimes we laugh at people from places like West Africa, Nigeria for that matter.
Yes.
But you may realize that we also have a huge share of our mispronunciations or errors in English. And that is why I say it is important to check. When we check, we always get it right.
All right, Willis, absolutely. I like that you're very, very inclusive with everybody. Okay, this one is Severed. So do you say severed, severed? How do we go about that one, Willis?
Oh, Betty, that is the past tense or past perfect of to sever. Sever,
Yes.
that is cutting links.
Yes.
So you say severed, severed. But many people find themselves saying severed. That is not the way to go.
Yes.
You simply say sever as the verb, and the past tense or past perfect, that is the past participle, becomes severed.
Severed, severed, Willis. Okay.
Yes.
I think that one is good because many people, I hear severed. And somebody says that so confidently.
It happens, Betty.
Yes.
It happens the world over.
Okay. All right, Willis, moving on to another one over here. So Lounge. Do you say lounge? Do you say lounge?
Oh.
Which is which?
I am going to the lounge. Very common but wrong in terms of English. And when we want to let English be English,
Okay.
that word is pronounced lounge. Lounge. It has that glide. Ow. Lounge.
Yes.
Just like scrounge, not scrounge.
Okay.
Lounge, scrounge.
Okay, lounge
Yes.
it is, Willis. Okay, Willis, before I hand it over to you, there's a word that was in the news tonight, and there's different pronunciations that I had myself and the reporters on the ground, talking about. So do you say political pundits? Do you say political pundits? I had it in my news today, and I was like, Willis is definitely Willis. Yes, Willis.
You say pundit.
Okay.
Pundit. That letter U in that word takes what we call the mid-central sound
Okay.
Pa. Pundit.
Okay.
But you say pulpit, not pulpit. But for this word you've asked about, it's pundit.
Pundit. All right, Willis, take it over. We'll come to the surprise word, which is one that I can't pronounce, but take it over from now, Willis.
Okay, Betty, let's go to collections of the week. And we have the Maclean Njoroge of Nairobi. You say jeopardy, not jeopardy. Betty, how many people do you hear saying jeopardy, jeopardize?
Jeopardy.
Have you heard that?
A lot, jeopardy.
Yes. Anyway, the O in those words is silent, not pronounced. So you simply say jeopardy and jeopardize.
Okay.
Tony Nderitu of Nyeri, you say intimacy, but intimate. Intimate, intimacy.
Okay.
Now, Zach Mainga or Marsabit, you say knowledge, orchestra, and sermon. At W. Saula, fascism or fascism. But remember, you use the weak sound E or U in the terminal part. That is the ending of that pronunciation.
Okay.
Fascism or, but you don't say S, you say sh. Fascism or fascism. Then you say fascist. Then you have fluid and fluidity, not fluid. Fluid, common, but wrong. Paul Gishuki. Betty, there is something here.
Tell
and I know
me.
you laugh a bit. I know you won't miss laughing a bit, Betty.
Okay. All right,
We
Willis.
say egerton, not egerton. Egerton, very common but wrong.
Yes.
That name is pronounced egerton, not
Egerton.
egerton that we commonly say locally.
Well,
Now,
good, yes.
at Mose
Egerton.
Musimi,
Okay.
yes, Betty, there are people who pass through that institution.
Who
We have
don't
it
know.
in Kenya, but innocently say egerton because of what they commonly hear around us.
Okay,
But
so
it's
Egerton. Got
now,
it, Willis.
at Egerton. Now, at Mose Musimi, you say situation. Betty, if you hear anybody in this world saying situation, situation, situated, just tell the person, but in a humble way.
In
you
a
say
humble way.
situation, situation, situate, situated,
Okay.
situation.
Okay.
Nancy J. Kiprono, you say diaspora. Don't say diaspora. Diaspora, no. And then the second word, I'll have to avoid it for the sake of our program and the viewers, who some of them who could be very young. But the first word I'll give you, Nancy, that is diaspora. But we have
Okay.
sometimes to obey the rules of broadcasting also.
Definitely.
So the second word would not be very friendly to the ears of the young ones.
Okay.
Now, Patricia Maronde from Nairobi, you say morale and you say rapport, not rapport and not morale. Morale booster, to strike a rapport, not a rapport.
Okay.
Edith Obora of Ahero, you say species. Species, not species.
Okay.
Paul Wakibia, you say I'm so and so, not am so and so. I apostrophe M, which is a contraction or the short form of I am.
Okay.
Many people innocently pronounce it as am so and so. No. You say I'm so and so. I'm Willis Oing.
Yes.
I'm Betty Kialo.
Okay.
Titus Bravo, the last person, you say to concur. Concur with someone. That is C-O-N-C-U-R. But your second word, you say conquer. To conquer a territory.
Okay.
Conquer. That is C-O-N-Q-U-E-R. Then Betty, those who are testing their tongues, we come to where I know you may need a handkerchief.
Sorry?
Parallelogram? No.
Okay.
Parallelogram? No. Parallelogram? No. You simply say parallelogram. Parallelogram. A bit tricky, Betty. Can you try it?
Parallelogram. Parallelogram. Like I told you, Makamba people
could be a problem. Betty.
You know, it's, you say it.
A tongue twister. It's a tongue twister. It's
sure.
Parallelogram.
Yes.
So you got it right, and that is why I say you are always tough when it comes to English. Betty, can you now pronounce for me this word, the way people normally pronounce it locally, the word for lawyer?
Okay, let me just get to see that. Okay.
Can you try it?
Okay, I hope I'm right. Sayuku J. Bishop, but is it counsel?
You see, you have gotten that glide. Council.
Okay,
council. But do you realize that many people say council, senior council, council, so and so? That council is for, in Kiswahili, kufutilia mbali, C-A-N-C-E-L.
Yes.
To cancel something, to cancel an event. But this one, you say council. Council, the way you pronounced it, Betty.
All right.
That is the way. Otherwise, for those who are watching and those who want to get things right, you can always reach me on this handle. That is X handle, at Willis Oing 1. You can also use at TV47 News. You can also use at Betty M. Kialo. Otherwise, ours is about learning like brothers and sisters, and I'm always right here every Friday night to ensure that I give you the accurate or correct pronunciation. But nobody in this world can be perfect. Back to you, Betty.
Thank you so much, Willis. Of course, appreciating all those correct pronunciations and, you know, correcting us to be able to pronounce words properly. And I like the Edgerton, you know, like you said, many people who've graduated from that, you know, facility, of course, some of them may be innocent, don't know, you know, they still say Egerton, but you know, at least today you say, you've taught us this Edgerton. All right, Willis Oing there, joining us live and direct from Kisii County, and of course, teaching us those correct pronunciations. You can reach him on all his handles or mine on X. So for now, we close that and we head out straight to our discussion. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, so like I mentioned earlier when we started the show, and of course throughout the show, I have this interesting and very important conversation that I would want us to have here. Like I told you, call your sisters, your auntie, your mother, your little, you know, daughter, anybody, you know, who of course can be affected by this particular disease. Of course, tonight we're talking about breast cancer, but we're celebrating our warrior, Ivy Rono, the lady in pink. Whether you guys, we discussed this. To be discussed.
Yes.
So ladies and gentlemen, Ivy Rono, she's a breast cancer survivor. Amazing girl. You look great. Your hair is so nice, full and everything.
Thank you so much.
Look at that smile. Like, you give us so much hope.
Thank you so much. Asante.
And also, we definitely had to have a specialist, cancer specialist, Dr. Wanda. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
And thank you for being here. So I have my ribbon here, but I have it here, but because it'll take time before I put it, I have it here and of course at heart. So ladies, I want us to start a conversation, of course. Ivy.
Yes.
First of all, how does it feel to be a survivor? And how crazy has it been in a nutshell?
It really feels nice. It feels like God has given me another chance to life. It feels like I was asked to give out the old life to be given the new one, and I feel really blessed to be here. Yes.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Actually, when you hear like you know, a survivor talking about a second chance, how does it make you feel from a specialist point of view?
I guess it's really heartwarming to see someone gain the confidence, one, to go through the treatment, and even to come out here and talk about their journey, because it's not an easy journey. It causes a lot of emotional turmoil. So being able to overcome that, to be able to talk about it with a smile, is really a blessing.
It's a blessing. And you know, ladies and gentlemen, you know, I met Ivy at Westgate Shopping Mall, and you know, she sells flowers, and she used to give me the most beautiful arrangement of of flowers.
Thank you.
You still do that?
Yes, I still
Amazing.
do that.
Westgate's at the, you know, the corner
the basement.
There. That's her hustle. So let's go to, I think the most interesting thing that people are, you know, wondering, at what point did you get to know that, you know, you have it?
Okay, so for me it started as nothing really serious because I just woke up one morning on the days that I was having my periods. I discovered every time I'm having my periods, I would wake up with a little spot on my night dress or my nightgown. So that's how it started. So it started in like about March. So March, April, May, I still got the spot. That is last year, 2023.
Okay.
It became a norm because, you know, as women, as we grow, as we get older, our bodies change.
Yes,
especially hormones, they tend to, you know, go up and down. So there's a lot of imbalance. So initially I thought it was that. So when we got to May, I didn't get the spot because it had become kawaida. So when I did get the spot, I was a bit, what's happening?
Yes.
And I remember this evening, I was taking a shower and just out of nowhere, I just decided, you know, the routine, touch yourself, you know, under the arms. And I felt something hard. It hit me a little bit of, no, it's just they're being tender, you know, it's the days of the month, so forget about it. And I remember talking to my sister about it, and she was like, we've all gone through that, you know, we are older, forget about, you're getting old, you know? And as days progressed, this lump didn't go away. I finished my period.
So was it a big lump? Was it like something that was
No, it was
profound?
just something hard, just on top.
Okay.
And it wasn't moving. That I remember it being so hard that it wasn't moving. Because, you know, when we have milk ducts, when you even touch yourself, you can feel things moving in there. So that one wasn't moving. And I stayed for some weeks. And I remember discussing it with my boss. She's a lady, bless her soul. I love that lady. And I remember telling her, there's this thing I'm feeling, because she's older. I felt she would be the best person to, you know, advise me. So I asked her, and I remember her saying, Ivy, you're telling me and you're still seated, you know? Run to the hospital, you stand to lose nothing. If really it's nothing, you're okay, it's nothing. But if it's something, we will have caught it at the early stage. Maybe it's not even what you think it is. It could be something very simple, easy. It's good to just go check yourself, then you go for treatment.
Woo. Yeah. So you went, checked. I mean, before when you answered that, Dr. Wanda, like, okay, so many women, you know, like she said, you're getting older, you're ignoring all these things. How often should we do this, you know, this test on ourselves, and also getting to go to a doctor and getting checked? How often should it be? Not just October, right?
Definitely, it shouldn't just be October.
Yes.
And it's good that you've mentioned that. So it's very important to know what is your normal. How do your breasts look like? What is your normal? Because all breasts don't look the same, don't feel the same, and know how they change over your cycle. So it's important to do it monthly. It's recommended you do it after your menses, sort of to have the hormonal component at the same time every month. Previously, we were talking about self-breast exam as a screening modality. However, it was noticed that because as an individual, you have not felt many lumps, it is easy to miss it. So now it is recommended that you have a clinical breast examination, where now a healthcare provider does an examination. You can choose to do it yearly, in case there is something suspicious, or we do imaging and we say follow up maybe in 6 months, we would advise otherwise. But if everything is normal, then we would want you to do it yearly.
What about, let's just go to the human aspect of it, like I am scared of going and something is found out. How do you know, how are we supposed to deal with that, you know? Because sometimes you just don't want to, you want to go, but you like, you don't want to go from this, for the pap smear, for all these things, just, you know, because of you're scared, just as a human being.
It is a normal feeling to be scared. It is very normal to be worried. What would be found out? How would I go about it? What if? However, once you take the first step and get there, then the fear gets less and less over time. So having the fear is normal. I think even for us as doctors, it's a normal fear. When you go for screening, you're worried. What if something comes out? So understanding that it's a normal feeling sort of helps us know you can overcome it.
And it's okay to
and it's okay to be scared. It's really okay to to be scared, but what you do after you've realized that you have the fear is very important.
Okay.
And also now seeing people like Ivy who speak out is giving people a lot of confidence that even if something happens or something is found, if Ivy made it, then I could do it. And that has really helped. So involving the survivors in the conversation is something that's very paramount, because then we can actually see breast cancer from not an abstract point of view to a human perspective and see, yes, if I notice something, I can go, I can get treated, and I can be okay.
Absolutely.
And that's really important.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Thank you for saying that it's okay to be scared.
It's okay to be scared.
So Ivy, when you got to the hospital, at what point were you told, okay, so this is it? And what was your reaction? Were you like, oh my goodness, it's done? How did you react to the news?
So before I go to the news, there are a lot of tests that need to be done. So yes, you'll see the doctor will confirm there's a lump. But even when there's a lump, they need to confirm, is it benign or is it malign? You know, just in simple terms to mean, is it cancerous or not? So for me, we went through all those tests, and there's this one test called biopsy, where they get a sample from that breast to take it to the lab and they, you know, check. And after 14 days, my results came back. And I remember that morning, you know, you've done all the prayers, you know, you're meeting and God is already done. You're like, God, I'm going for this. And at the back of your mind, you always hope for the best. There's no single day you hope it could be, you know, something.
Anything else.
Like in my case, we've never had it in our history. We are born 5 girls, not in my mom's family, not in my dad. So I knew for sure it is not it. So I get to the hospital, I go to the radiology department, and I'm given an envelope. You know, Google University has really
that is so bad. So you get the envelope and the first thing you go to Google.
I looked at my envelope. They were like, take this envelope, go see the doctor. So on my way to the doctor, I decided, you know what?
Let me check.
Let me just check. And I open, you know, the doctor's language you can't understand.
You can't tell.
And I remember just going so fast down here where it was written findings. And I remember reading all the 5 samples taken, tested positive for invasive ductal carcinoma. Me, who am in marketing and flowers, that sounded foreign. So what do? I get my phone and Google. And the first thing that my eyes landed on was cancer. And I remember.
So where were you? Were you in the car heading to the hospital?
No, I was at 3rd floor. It's in the same premise. So I'm at 3rd floor going to the doctor's office. And I remember seeing the desk where the nurses were. So there's a nurse who saw me. I think she saw me reading through, and I remember her paying attention to me. At that particular time, you know, my world went blurred. I didn't see anything else. I saw death. And I thank God, because I'm here today to tell people that cancer or breast cancer is not a death sentence. It is not. Because at that time, you know, the way Dr. said, we are human, so there's fear, there's confusion. And I remember the nurse running to me and telling me, Ivy, you need a space. And she took me to this kitchenette, just a little kitchen for the nurses. And I remember screaming. I just saw cups, I think, falling. I screamed so much. She held me. And I remember asking her, am I dying? And bless her, because she told me, Ivy, you're not dying. We thank God, because we've known this is the result, so we will treat you. So we will give you all the support that you need.
Ooh, that sounds very heavy. And I can imagine how many women go through that. And, you know, they need that nurse or somebody to hold them in that moment. There's something that, you know, Ivy has said, Dr. that, you know, it's a family of 5 girls. Nobody has, there's no, you know, even from the mom's side, there's no history. And so a lot of people say, you know, it has to be genetic. Come on, my mom, Hannah, Auntie Yangu, Hannah, Shosho, Hannah, I'm good. Probably I'm good. No. So what do you say about that? Like, is there like a way to know, you know, like, you know, you have it or you don't have it?
That's a good question. And I think one of the myths about cancer care is that it's genetic. That if you do not have family history, then you're safe. That's a myth, because when you look at statistics, then only 5 to 10% of breast cancers are genetic. 5 to 10%. So we have a 90% chunk that is not genetic. No one in your family has history of cancer, but I become the first one to have cancer. So that's just to say screening is very important, because even if your family doesn't have history, as Ivy has mentioned, then there's still a 90% chance. And when we look at the risk factors, some are factors that are non-modifiable. Like one, it's commoner to have breast cancer in women than in men.
Yes.
Men get breast cancer, but for them it's like a 1% of breast cancers being male. The other non-modifiable is just being female. The age, as you age, then that's a risk factor. Perhaps if you started your menses very early, we're talking about below the age of 12. If you get menopause after the age of 60, it means you've had a long period of exposure to estrogen, the hormones that make us female. You've had cycles going on. If you have your fewer children, if you have your
My
babies
goodness, it sounds like a whole punishment.
So there's this whole things of things that some are modifiable, some are not. If I take a lot of alcohol, cigarette smoking, it increases the risk. If I get to menopause and I'm given hormone replacement, then that's also a risk factor. If maybe in childhood I had radiation to my chest, then it's a risk factor. So understanding there's a lot other than genetic. So just singling out genetics might not really be a correct way to look at things. And I think that is one of the reasons we're not having many women come for screening. They're like, why should I get screened? We don't have genetics.
You know, the list that you've made, I think all of us should make sure that we get screened. Just from the list that you've mentioned. Oh my goodness. So coming back to you, Ivy, let's talk about the journey now, from now acceptance, and now you're saying, okay, fine, I'm going to battle this out. How heavy was, you know, the chemotherapy and everything? And I'm sure like right now there are many women, you know, who are going through it, and they just want to know like there's light at the end of the tunnel after all these sessions. How was it for you?
It was hard. It was hard, and I think I held on to one thing that gave me hope, and that's my daughter. I have a 6-year-old daughter. Her name is Zoe, and every time I was like in my lowest, I remember Daktari telling me, Ivy, fight this thing so that you live to see your daughter grow. And I thank God, because that thing really gave me hope. Seeing her on its own gave me, you know, the struggle, but it was hard. You know, you'll be told, eat right, take one day at a time. But we as human, that thing puts you down. But what I want to say, even when you're down, try. Don't stay down there. Try and pick up yourself. Pole, pole. Give yourself time to heal. If you feel you can't leave bed, it is okay. See that day on bed. But tomorrow, try pole, pole. It wasn't easy. It was hard. And the more you move, because you do like 8 sessions, so at first your body hasn't adjusted really, so you know you can go through it easily, because I was doing at the intervals of 3 weeks. So you find the first one okay, second okay. By the time you get to the third one, that's when it gets real. You start losing hair completely. You go bald, your nails become black. There are those who lose their nails completely. And that's the time it gets really hard.
Really hard.
Yes.
But, you know, like you said, you have to find maybe purpose and fight through. Okay, so as we wrap up, unfortunately, time is over. But Dr. just very quickly, so as a specialist, what can you tell, apart from what you've said about listing everything, what hope can you give people that, you know, it's not a death sentence, that like she started saying when we started the conversation?
Yeah, I think it's very important for us to emphasize that, because most people, when they hear the cancer word, then they feel like it's the end.
It's done.
However, we have had a lot of advancements in terms of care. Oncology is one of those fields. Research is happening every day. And if you see, we have a lot of conferences in our field where new information is given out on how to treat patients. The side effect profile has become better because of the drugs that have come. The nausea and vomiting is kept at bay, better than it was in the past. So we're getting to a place where we have a large body of survivors. And that is really encouraging, because it means the treatment is working. They're here with us, and that means if we go for screening, so if you're below the age of 40, it's very important for you to go for a clinical breast exam. If we need to do imaging, then we'll do an ultrasound or an MRI of the breast, depending on what we're looking out for. If you're above the age of 40, then we'd want to do what is called a mammogram. That is an X-ray of the breast. Remember, before you feel a mass, the X-ray can pick out even a speckle that can be really small and that can go a long way in detecting cancer early. So early detection saves lives, and it's important for us to go for screening, and it will go a long way in ensuring we catch it early. The treatment options become easier, the side effect profile is less, and patients do well.
Thank you. That's hopeful. Thank you. So we should go for screening. Your last words, to any cancer patient who's watching you right now, going through, I want you to look into that camera and just talk to them, because you've been there. What is it that you can tell them to give them some inspiration?
One thing that I'll tell them is there's hope at the end of the tunnel. It might be so hard right now. I know you're wondering if there are days that it will be better. There are days that you'll take water and it won't taste like steel. There's hope. I'm here to assure you, you keep on fighting, go through the chemo, go through the radio, if it is mastectomy, go through it. Follow your doctor's advice, because it is very important. Don't get to a point where you surrender or you give up. Don't, because I'm here today. That should be enough to, for you to fight.
Wow, amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing your story. Also, sharing somebody's story is also very personal. But thank you for coming on national TV and sharing that it's possible to be okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And continue, shining and looking fabulous and slaying. And the hair and everything is looking good. Big up to you. And also, Dr. Thank you for everything that you guys are doing, at least to make sure that we come to, to get checked and also we get treated. Well, thank you so much. My goodness, I feel so inspired. I don't know if you feel inspired. Okay, if you feel inspired, please, let's all go and try to get tested. Let's go get screened. It doesn't hurt. And of course, as you've heard Dr. is saying, it's always good to go early, and things can easily be sorted out. So I'll personally make the to go again. But for you at home who's watching, let's make the right choice and do the right thing. Drag your sister, drag your niece, drag your mom, drag your girlfriend, your partner, your wife. Let's all go and get screened, all right? So thank you so much, ladies.
Thank you.
All right, and you know what? That brings us to the end of the show tonight.
But before, I have a gift for you.
Okay. Oh, there you go. Oh, my goodness. All right, let's bring it in. Okay, so ladies, I told you that she sells the most beautiful flowers at Westgate Mall. That is normally at the
basement.
At the basement.
Yes.
So please, let's support my girl Ivy.
Yes.
That's how we came to know each other, and then later on, I got to know about her struggle. All right, let's stand and get. My best just did the thing. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you. Wow, these are so gorgeous. Oh, look at that. My goodness. Do you know she sells beautiful?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
So guys, look at that. I love my flowers. They're so pretty. Thank you so much. I'm the one who should be giving you flowers. But anyway, you sell them, so you see them. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much, ladies. I really appreciate it from the bottom of my heart for the flowers and also for sharing.
You're welcome.
All right, so please support Ivy's business, Westgate Mall at the basement. She has the most gorgeous flowers. And then yapo, now mpatie lazima. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, good night from me. I'll see you again, God willing, next Friday. Till then, let's be kind to one another. And you know what? It's time to dance. Shiksha and DJ Wiz are coming out to dance, So Tribe 47 is coming up next. DJ Twendekazi, should I say that? All right, good night, guys. Oh, thank you so much.